the married woman wearing a silk dress striding seductively into her lover's room. What's intriguing is that 5 minutes later, Sedat's wife walks in too, ready to consummate their marriage. Nalan lays out a sexy nightgown on the bed and murmurs words of encouragement to herself. Kana, touching up her makeup in the bathroom, is startled by the sound and realizes there's another woman in the room. After work, a weary Sedat is surprised to see his wife's sudden arrival. When he notices her awkwardly tucking the sensual nightgown back, he instantly knows she's here to share the marital bed. His mood lifts at once. As their conversation softens into murmurs, their bodies ease into each other, completely unaware that someone is spying from behind the door. The passionate scene leaves Kana parched with jealousy. She uses her phone to order room service, interrupting their intimacy. The knock at the door startles Sedat, and when he turns, he catches a glimpse of Kana. His arousal deflates in an instant. He jumps up in fear and tells Nalan to check who's at the door. As soon as Nalan leaves, Sedat rushes into the bathroom, snapping at Kana, "Are you crazy? What are you doing here?" Kana claims it's a surprise for him. Terrified out of his wits, Sedat urges her to scramble for a way out. But no sooner has he stepped out of the bathroom than Nalan walks in, psyching herself up in front of the mirror for the consummation, completely oblivious to the rival hiding under the sink. A panicked Sedat hurries to call Nalan out, diverting her attention by talking about wine. Kana calls Sedat, telling him to pretend her friend has been in a car accident. Sedat plays along, putting on a flustered act and dragging Nalan out with him. But once they're downstairs, Sedat makes every excuse to keep Nalan from going to the hospital, insisting he'll go alone. He even claims he left his phone in the room, rushing back to ditch her. Once back in the room, Sedat is furious at Kana for showing up uninvited, until she leans in for a kiss. Starved of intimacy for days, Sedat can't resist, throwing himself into her arms. Afterwards, the two snuggle up, chatting about his bid for the company's chairman position. A few days ago, to repay Harry for saving his life, Mr. Koroglu made him his personal chauffeur. The cleaner was overwhelmed with joy. Never had he imagined that the richest man would recognize him as a confidant. As soon as he returned home, Mr. Koroglu announced momentous news. He had decided to step down as chairman of the board and would appoint one of his 3 children to take on the crucial role. His family was both shocked and confused. Mr. Koroglu had long ruled over every member of the household with an iron fist. Why would he suddenly let go of his power? Sedat and Selin both began secretly vying for the position of board chairman, each hoping to secure it for themselves. Musso, however, was not particularly interested. It doesn't matter to him who takes over, he can accept it as long as that person doesn't harm the kind-hearted Nalan. Sedat is lost, unsure what to do to win this important position. Kana suggests he be nicer to Nalan. Since Mr. Koroglu adores Nalan and values her greatly, her words might just help him gain favor with his father. Sedat sets aside her playful ways and dives into work, eager to make his mark and prove his abilities. Recently, Mr. Koroglu wants to invest in building a new hotel to expand the family's prestige, but the loan approval has been delayed. Sedat sees this as his best chance to prove himself. He boasts in front of everyone that he will definitely secure it. However, Mr. Koroglu has been disappointed by this son too many times and holds no hope, only saying coldly that he'll wait and see. Selin even mocks Sedat for daydreaming. Why not just enjoy being a carefree rich kid? Why wade into this mess? The distrust from his father and sister infuriates Sedat. He turns to his mother for help, sobbing that no one has ever thought highly of him since he was a child. He promises to turn over a new leaf, vowing to cut all ties with Kana and devote himself to his wife. Mrs. Koroglu can't resist his pleas and agrees to support him. Soon, word of all this reached the ears of Mr. Koroglu's rival Javed. He secretly asks Sedat to come out for a meeting, offering to help him seize power. Mr. Koroglu is blind not to see what a capable son he has. Sedat is completely taken in by his flattery. He only knows Javed is his mother's sister's husband, unaware that Javed has long harbored feelings for his mother. With Javed's help, the president of the bank calls Sedat, expressing approval of his innovative plan and granting the loan. Mr. Koroglu is impressed by Sedat for the first time, so much so that he even gives Sedat a piece of his own cheese. This is a privilege no one present has ever been granted before. Hoping to win more of his father's favor, Sedat praises Nalan, saying she was the only one who silently supported and believed in him when everyone else doubted him. Mr. Koroglu is delighted, remarking that Sedat has finally grown up and learned to think this marriage has worked a miracle. He immediately decides to give the young couple a long vacation for a honeymoon. Knowing Nalan dislikes crowded, prying places, Sedat plans to take her to the farm hotel where he proposed. But Mr. Koroglu, worried Sedat might drive recklessly and get hurt, asks Harry to drive them there. In truth, he also wants Harry to keep an eye on them. Nalan respects Harry deeply. She speaks to him in a gentle manner, never acting as if she were his master. Harry cannot help but fall in love with this kind and graceful lady. In contrast, Sedat looks down on the driver simply because Harry used to clean toilets. Throughout the journey, he shows off his wealth and deliberately belittles Harry. Even though Nalan tries to stop him, she cannot silence his disrespectful words. When they stop at a service area to rest, Sedat heads to the bathroom without a second thought. Harry, on the other hand, runs to buy water for Nalan, 1 bottle cold, 1 room temperature, letting her choose. Nalan would never have thought, for a man with such a rough, burly look, he could have such a tender heart. Sedat, though, lingers by the car door, refusing to climb in until Harry comes to open it for him. It is the first time Nalan has seen this high and mighty side of her husband. Upon arriving at the farm hotel, Sedat tells the manager not to prepare a room for Harry. He's just a driver. He should stay with the hotel staff. Nalan feels embarrassed, but is powerless to change things. To please his wife, Sedat gives her a bouquet of magnolias, simply because she once mentioned in passing that they are her favorite. Nalan is deeply moved by this thoughtful gesture, completely unaware that he is only using her. Sedat even goes out of his way to put on silly impersonations, setting Nalan off into fits of laughter. Encouraged by him, Nalan lets go of her ladylike proprieties, loosens up, and joins in the mimicry. As they grow more relaxed and joyful by the minute, kisses and other intimate gestures unfold naturally. That night, Sedat fulfills his duties as a husband. Yet, in the stillness of the night, Sedat slips out to the balcony and calls Kana. He tells her the task has been completed, even scoffing that Nalan doesn't know the first thing about it. Kana is the only one who gets it, and she's his one true love. At that moment, Harry is downstairs feeding the dogs and overhears their conversation. Just as Sedat pours out his love to Kana, Nalan steps outside. He feigns innocence, lying that he is calling the friend injured in the car accident to check on his condition. Nalan doesn't suspect a thing. Furious after learning the truth, Harry storms to the restaurant to drown his anger in drink. He feels deeply wronged for Nalan. What's so great about the rich man's son? He has such a tender, devoted wife, but doesn't cherish her, fooling around with someone else. He's nothing but a wolf in sheep's clothing. If she were mine, I wouldn't even bear to hurt a single hair on Nalan's head, Harry mutters. Harry longs to be wealthy too. That way, he would have the power to protect the woman he loves. The next morning, bleary-eyed from a hangover, Harry hurries to meet Sedat and Nalan for breakfast. But the staff stop him, stating that the staff meal is served elsewhere and he can't eat here. Harry knows Sedat is behind this. Watching the hypocritical Sedat kiss Nalan's hand, vowing he'll love her for a lifetime through every word, Harry's stomach churns with disgust. He's desperate to rush over and spill the truth, yet holds back. Afraid of hurting Nalan, he can only swallow his anger. Out of nowhere, Sedat starts ordering Harry around with an air of arrogance, telling him to go make coffee. As just a lowly employee, Harry can't fight back. When Harry brings the coffee over, Sedat sneers that he smells disgusting, like a toilet. Humiliated beyond words, Harry's hand slips and the coffee spills right over Sedat's crotch. Serves him right, maybe now he'll stop preying on other women. He was scolded, but it was a relief. Sedat goes back to his room and complains that he doesn't understand why his father hired such an idiot as a driver. To calm his rage, Nalan suggests going for a walk, but Sedat says he wants a massage instead. With nothing better to do, Nalan heads off to wander through the forest alone. Harry follows at a distance, admiring her beauty. The crisp air and warm sunlight make Nalan's mind drift to her intimate moments with Sedat the night before. Lost in thought, she trips and falls into a pit. Harry sprints over, reaching her in a flash. Seeing her sprained ankle, too painful to walk, Harry sweeps her up in his arms and carries her back to the hotel. Once in the lobby, Harry immediately finds an ice pack for her swollen ankle, even wrapping it in his own towel to keep her from getting cold. The close contact makes Nalan slightly uncomfortable, but she's genuinely grateful. Harry may seem unremarkable at first glance, but he's surprisingly attentive in his actions, nothing like Sedat, who's all empty words. When Sedat sees his wife hurt, his first reaction is to fly into a rage. But it's not out of concern, it's because a mere driver dared to lay a hand on his wife. He snaps at the manager. Does a hotel this size not have a doctor? The manager replies that the doctor is in the next village and will take some time to arrive. Sedat erupts, yelling about their terrible service and threatening to file a complaint. Meanwhile, Kana's husband is taking her to court, filing for divorce and planning to fight for custody of their children. Kana is furious that he shouldn't have deprived her of her right to be a mother. Though Kana is far from a perfect person, she always takes excellent care of their 2 kids. They are her whole life. Alp doesn't bother to argue with Kana and calls security to kick her out of the office. Cornered with no way out, Kana has to call Sedat, demanding his help. Otherwise, I'll spill all the dirty secrets between us to the world. We'll both crash and burn. You'll never lay a finger on that company chairman's seat. Reluctantly, Sedat gives in. On the way back, Sedat puts on a show of being a caring husband. He tells Nalan to rest her foot on his lap and gives it a few insincere massages. Nalan says it's not a big deal and wants to stop by to see Mama. Sedat agrees without hesitation. He's been scrambling for an excuse to get rid of her. Mama is thrilled to hear they've consummated their marriage. She even holds up her hand, a gesture to show she truly accepts Sedat into the family. To go meet Kana, Sedat tells his in-laws that Nalan has sprained her ankle and that he has an urgent matter at work to attend to. He'll leave her there in their care. Mama grinds up ointment to ease Nalan's pain and swelling. For the first time in a long while, Nalan feels the warmth of a mother's love and is deeply moved. But the tenderness doesn't last. Mama says she's only completed the first step. She still owes her a grandchild. That suffocating sense of having no privacy washes over Nalan again, trapping her in an endless cycle of misery. In the restaurant, Kana takes Sedat to her husband and tries to convince him that there is no affair between them, but a normal sibling relationship. Sedat even goes so far as to declare he loves only his wife Nalan. Little do they know, Alp has already seen their flirtatious chat history on Kana's phone. Alp scoffs at their self-directed drama, calling them utterly stupid. He lays it out bluntly. I've long known about the affair between you two. I couldn't care less about that, but I'm never giving her custody of the kids, not when she'd only corrupt them. Kana storms back to the hotel, only to run into Selin. Selin guesses she's here to see Sedat and lays into her with a string of reproaches. Kana isn't about to back down, firing back. We got married around the same time. I already have 2 kids, but you still haven't become a mother. This hits Selin right where it hurts. She can't argue, so she turns and leaves. It turns out her long-term high-intensity work has made it hard for her to get pregnant. That's why she's always felt she's letting her husband down. In the evening, Levent's sister bursts into the villa, shouting and making a scene. But Levent refuses to entertain her. He moves to throw her out, only to be stopped by Mr. Koroglu. She's explaining through tears that her husband got tricked. They're drowning in debt now. She insists she had no other choice but to come begging her brother for money, all for the sake of her kid. This tugs at Mr. Koroglu's heart. He's always been family-oriented, so he agrees to pay off all her debts. Once his sister leaves, Mr. Koroglu tears into Levent, roaring that nothing infuriates me more than a man who doesn't fight for his family's well-being. What Mr. Koroglu doesn't know is that Levent's sister is actually a gambler. Levent and Selin have been hiding her gambling habits, secretly paying off her debts countless times, but she remains unrepentant, demanding more and more. That's why Levent refused her just now, wanting to kick her out. Watching her husband being cursed out as worthless by her father, Selin feels utterly miserable. To rescue her husband from this predicament, Selin lies to them, announcing that she's pregnant. The news hits everyone like a thunderbolt, especially Sedat. This is the critical moment for the chairman election. Sedat is already outshone by Selin in every way and has never been his father's favorite. Mr. Koroglu has long dreamed of having a grandson to carry on the family line. With her pregnancy announcement, Selin's status in the family skyrockets. Mr. Koroglu promises to grant her every wish, no matter what she asks for. Selin's sudden move throws all of Sedat's plans into disarray. Frantic and agitated, he hurries to discuss with Nalan, insistent they must have a baby right away. But Nalan refuses to be reduced to a breeding tool in their power struggle. She says she's not ready to be a mother, insisting things should take their natural course. Sedat's face hardens instantly. You're my wife. Nalan sees through his ambition, but she refuses to use a child as a bargaining chip. They erupt into a bitter argument, ending on terrible terms. Nalan heads to the living room to calm down. Muzo notices her unhappiness right away. Nalan asks him, have you never thought about having kids? He smiles and replies, only if I had a girlfriend first. Muzo looks at her softly, admitting he might never meet his one true love. What Nalan doesn't know is that Muzo fell in love with her the moment he first saw her. No other woman has ever crossed his mind. But his love isn't about possession, he just wants her to be happy. Sensing she's fought with Sedat, he reassures her that all marriages have their rough patches. Relieved, Nalan returns to Sedat only to find him snoring like a log. This is Maroon Recap. Check out my homepage and you'll see more recaps of Camdaki Kiz. I'm hastening to write and edit the next recap, so feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.